Good morning. Is it morning? Yes, it is. I have had such a successful day today. I left the house at 8 o'clock. I made 7 stops that I had to make. Go to Home Depot, Aldi's, the bank, the gas station, the post office, Tim Hortons, and I was back in 2 hours. That was crazy. And it was not great driving either because of snow. It was pretty snowy out there. Anyways, so it's 10 o'clock in the morning, and I had my whole day ahead of me, and I did all this stuff. Took care of all this weird business I had to take care of. So what I want to do today is go back to my story. I have a video, which I will link to this video, so they're connected. I did a storyboard with the Fountain Tarot, which is this one little wonderment. And I'm going to continue my story with Celia. Celia. She works in a bank, and she broke up with her boyfriend, and she's feeling kind of bad about it. And she's kind of on automatic pilot getting through her day. She's still trying to get over the relationship. She's in her 30s. She's single, no children. And she just feels kind of bad about what happened, and she's going through the motions every day, going to work, coming home, and thinking about this guy who was cheating on her. In the first chapter, she had some dealings with her boss, an older gentleman, who she found out as the day proceeded, that he was inappropriate with another worker, a younger woman. And so she overheard them, and she was shocked that this guy was doing this to this woman. And she thought a little bit about it, but then rather than do something, rather talk to the girl or talk to the boss or, do anything, she just went home. She didn't do anything. She chose to just let it go. It wasn't her problem. It's the woman's problem or the man's problem, or it's not her problem. So she went home. So that's how we left her. She was putting her head in the sand, which she tends to do, and she went home that evening after work. And that's where we left her. So I'm going to do another 5 cards to see what chapter 2 is about. So this is a storyboard using, is this thing on? It's on, right? Why doesn't it look like it's on? Oh yeah, it's on. Okay. So we're just going to pull 5 cards. And tell the story, continue to tell the story of Celia. Okay, here she is, King of Swords. The boss in the last video was the King of Cups, I believe. So here's the King of Swords. I will now transfer him over as this character. Analytical, in control, and maybe not the easiest person to deal with. So I think what's happened is she's at home. It's later in the evening, excuse me, and coffee, Tim Hortons coffee, and she's reevaluating this guy. And she sees him very different than she saw him before. Before, he was the King of Cups, which was sort of a fatherly figure, sort of a nice guy. He had his issues, but she never thought of him as a predator. Now she's rethinking who he is, and she sees him in a different light. And she's also, I believe, making comparisons with the boyfriend and the boss, and seeing the similarities, how they can be, present well, and they got their game on, but there's lies. There's a lot of lies and a lot of misuse of power, and there's a lot of manipulation. And so she's seeing her boss like that, and I think she's also thinking about the boyfriend and saying, what did she miss about the boyfriend? How did she get so wrapped up in this guy? And now she's kind of sees them as the same person. which is not good. It's very uncomfortable because she has two men in her life, essentially, the ex-boyfriend and this boss of hers, and now she's stuck with this King of Swords, who is not a pleasant person. She still doesn't know what she's going to do about it, but she's seeing him in a different light, just like she sees her boyfriend in a different light. Okay, the next card is the Hierophant. This is a major arcana, and she's feeling now she has to go for counseling. She feels like she was grabbing on, she was holding on to reality, and she felt she had a handle on things. But now she's realizing that things are kind of getting out of control, and she's thinking negative thoughts, and she's she's seeing these guys as being very manipulative. She's blended these two men together, her ex-boyfriend and her boss, and she feels to be a victim, and she knows that's not healthy. She's trying to get away from that, but she doesn't know what to do. So she's thinking, okay, what I'll do is tomorrow, or I'll get someone. I'll go for counseling because I need to be counseled because I just don't know what to do about all these feelings, and I'm frustrated and I'm not getting anywhere. And I thought I was getting somewhere, and then this boss of hers, did this thing to this girl, and it's just bringing everything up again. So she's thinking of going for a counselor, and she is thinking that she wants to see a female counselor, not a male counselor. So she knows she's got to do something because she feels like she's in a box and she wants to get out of the box and she wants to see the light and she just wants to have her life changed. And so she's thinking of seeing a counselor that evening. Well, poor Celia, she's having a bad day. Let me tell you, this all happened in one day. So we have the Tower, which is a dramatic change in her and how she feels. And I believe that this evening at home, while she's thinking about these two guys that have been are in her life, or have been in her life, she's thinking of a counselor. She's also starting to drink. She's had a problem with drinking before, but she's managed to deal with it. But now she's really going in. She's getting the hard liquor out. She's got some, I don't know, maybe she's got some vodka out there and she's putting something in the vodka. I'm not sure what she would put in there, some cranberry juice or something. I don't know. But she starts going heavy with the drinking. And as the day goes on, the evening goes on, she's getting more and more drunk. And she's getting frustrated, and she's kind of getting antsy, and when she drinks, she's not herself. She becomes a very different person. So she has a couple drinks and she decides to go out to the local bar. It's 10 o'clock at night. She's pretty smashed, and she leaves her apartment and goes down the street to a bar. Well, guess who's at the bar? There's this neighborhood bar, and she knows some of the people, and everyone's drinking quite heavily, and she joins the group. They're playing music. She's getting really drunk. She's kind of having a good time. She's dancing by herself with the music. And so things are going well at the bar. There's one person that's kind of talking to her more than normal. She knows the guy because she's been in there before for food or takeout or something. And it's the bartender. And he's being nice, but he's like, "Are you sure you want another drink? I don't know about that. I don't think you need another drink." And she gets a little pissy with him, but he's kind of watching over her, and she kind of blows him off. And she's not like herself at all. She's very drunk, getting kind of boisterous, yelling out to the men, and she's thinking, she should behave like a man, she should just screw it all, just not even be a woman, be more like a man, just, be aggressive and lying and, do whatever the hell she wants. That alcohol is really affecting her brain. Okay. These are great cards I'm getting here. So then there's the High Priestess. So the night wears on. People are leaving. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. And the bartender is feeding her coffee. He's like, have some coffee before you go home. She goes, I don't need coffee. And it's getting later. It's 2 o'clock, 2:30. She's not leaving. He's giving her coffee. And she's looking this guy over. You know, he's a bit older than she is. Not too much, maybe 10 years. And so she's feeling like, you know, well, maybe I'll go to bed with him. You know, maybe I'll sleep with this guy, you know. So she makes a play for the guy because she's not acting normal. And he backs off. I mean, he's seen everything in the bar. He knows the game plan here. He knows how this works. And he said, you know, that he was flattered, but, you know, he has a girlfriend, which is not what she wants to hear. And she just gets more and more provocative, thinking that she can control the situation, and she can't control the situation. So at some point, it's about 3 o'clock now. She hasn't had a drink in about a half an hour. And he says, I got to close up now. You know, you got to go home. And I can walk you home if you like. Do you want me to walk you home? And she goes, no, she lives like less than a block. She lives a block away. She doesn't even have to cross a street. She goes, no, I'm good. I'm good. So she goes home, and she is sobering up, and she's thinking about the evening, and then all of a sudden she starts thinking about what did she do? What was she doing? What was going on with her? That wasn't her at all, you know. And will she ever be able to go back to that bar? I mean, would she ever get takeout? I mean, she was aware of what she was doing, but she didn't feel like herself. And so she's sitting on her bed, and she's like, who am I? What have I done? What am I doing? And she's really confused and very lost. And at the end of the chapter, she does something very unusual. Now, I don't know what that is. She does something. She goes into the kitchen, and she fills the kitchen sink with newspapers. And she lights a match, and she lights the match into the sink full of newspapers. Well, not full of newspapers. Let's say, you know, some newspapers. And there's a flame. And she's just looking at the flame. She's kind of mesmerized by the flame. And she's just watching it burn. That's the end of the chapter. So that's chapter 2 of Celia, her little drunken spree down the street, and then coming back home and starting a little fire in her kitchen sink. That's where we leave her. There's a lot to Celia, I feel, and she a lot about Celia that Celia does not understand. And so I see the story as a story where who she is will slowly, she's not one thing, she's many, many things. There's many facets to Celia, and we're going to learn about that as the story goes on. I just noticed the interesting here, they have the Major Arcana have little lines on top. I don't know, that's sort of interesting. I don't know. Anyways, it's a great deck. I hope you found that interesting. I would encourage you, if you're a writer or even an artist maybe, to get a deck of cards, get a deck of tarot cards, and I do like this Fountain Tarot, and tell yourself a little story. Have no preconceived ideas, just start laying cards, go by the images, be very intuitive with the images you see, and see where it takes you. You could do this for a story, you could do this for a poem, you could do this for a subject matter for a painting. Just feel free, loosen up, and have no expectations, and see where it takes you. Hey, it's been great talking to you. Have a great day.